Hello, my name is Kathy Rochemont. I am the founder and educational director of Nail Basics. Since 1975, I've been devoted to our industry and continue to be on a constant journey of expanding my knowledge in the field as a professional nail technician, product developer, and most importantly, mentor. During the past 20 years, I have mentored hundreds of nail technicians of all skill levels at my desk. Now, in the form of a video, I can come to you. I am delighted to have the opportunity to share some of my knowledge and experience with you. At Nail Basics, we truly believe that it takes more than quality products to achieve success in the nail industry, and are committed to empowering nail technicians with the skills and knowledge required to attract and retain clientele. As part of that commitment, we are pleased to bring to you our Nail Fills video collection. Nail fills are the backbone to every successful nail technician's career. This collection illustrates in stunning detail what you need to know to perfect your techniques for gel nail fills and electric file use. Our collection of nail fill training videos are presented in 3 separate yet equally important sections. First are the essentials of thorough preparation, followed by structured application, and concluding with filing and finishing techniques. We are confident that you will be able to employ our methods for practical purposes, enabling you to start your journey towards becoming a highly skilled nail technician. This first video takes you through French fill preparation. My goal in preparation is to maintain and reseal the growth of the natural free edge while protecting the valuable top layer of keratin. Creating no damage to the hard top layer of keratin is most important for your success in achieving the best bond and seal possible. The first most important thing at the nail desk, in my opinion, as a nail technician, is health and safety. So the first thing that we're going to do before we start holding hands today is work with our Isogel. Isogel is a pre-service antiseptic. We're going to cleanse not only my hands, but your hands as well. Just a little drop in your hand and wash together as though you're washing. This product is a hospital-grade product. It carries a drug identification number, so that means that it is medically active. This is what's used in the hospitals. This will help prevent the transfer of any harmful bacteria that we'll share with each other, preventing, say, the common cold. The next thing that we need to be aware of is cuticle preparation. Cuticle preparation is key in being sure that we don't get any separation or lifting through that important cuticle area. You probably find that that maybe is one of your issues as a nail tech. The next most important thing in application, being sure that we get a good cuticle application that stays secure throughout the regrowth, as we see here, nice, clean, flush, no separation, is being sure that we prep that cuticle thoroughly and clean. The product that we choose for this is called Cutique, made by Orly. The problem with the cuticle area is a protein that's produced that acts like a tissue sitting in the cuticle corners. What Cutique will do, based on its enzyme, is break into that protein and allow us a nice, easy, quick, gentle removal, and very, very thorough. You simply paint it through the cuticles, be quite generous with it, and let it sit for about 30 seconds. It's very important that you don't leave this product on for any longer than 3 minutes. As it is an enzyme, it will tend to irritate the tissue. Normally, by the time you've finished applying it to the last hand, you're ready to go to your first cuticle with your cuticle prep tool. We choose to use a metal tool instrument for this because it is easy to disinfect and sanitize. If you are breaking the skin and creating any blood, it's very, very important that you use a 10-minute disinfectant soak. And of course, we do certainly hope with proper training that a nail technician does not create any bleeding of the client's skin. I like to sanitize my tools in front of my client, as you're seeing, so that she's sure that the tool is clean prior to use on her. I like to use the small end of my tool, personal preference, but I do find that it fits into the corner of the cuticle very, very well. In our cuticle prep, we first lift the cuticle gently away, tucking the tool in and then pulling out to remove that little bit of protein that lives on the nail in that position. A very common practice is to simply push that cuticle back. With that practice, you're actually pushing all that protein in under the cuticle. It still lives there. It will come back in some cases and cause a little bit of separation for you. So the proper practice is first lift the cuticle gently and then place the tool under and gently pull it towards you like this. Notice all the residue that I'm able to pull off with this practice. Very, very important to be thorough right in this cuticle corner position. This is where the residue sits the thickest, and this does tend to be the area of the nail where most nail technicians do have a problem with bonding and separation. Once you finish your removal of your protein, you see how much is on there. Take a little bit of your after wipe on a nail wipe and gently cleanse that off of there. Now, after wipe is our cleanser and dehydrator. It's part of the Nail Basics system. You want to use a good nail wipe with it that doesn't shed a lot of fiber, and be very generous with it. After wipe is what we use to remove the cutique and neutralize those enzymes that I spoke about, because they are active and they will irritate. After wipe is also a dehydrator. You will notice after I've finished my removal that the tissue of your client's skin is very, very dehydrated. Now we're at the point in our procedure where we're going to go into preparation, which is removal of product to maintain the health, the structure, and the growth of the natural nail. The first thing I like to do is pick that nail up, take a look underneath. We're looking for any kind of signs of separation of the natural nail away from the product. And as I look closely right here, I can see your natural nail and I can see the product. There's a little bit of a dark edge, I call it lifestyle residue, works its way in between the layer of the product and underneath your nail. So this is what I'm going to work so carefully to remove without damaging that top layer. I want to keep the integrity of the top layer of keratin. It's my bonding layer. If I go into that top layer, I'm going to do damage that's going to cause product to separate. I choose to do my preparation with an electric nail file. I use the Erica's MT20. I choose this machine because when we turn it on, we can work with it at a very, very low speed. There's no need for a very aggressive speed or a high RPM when we're doing the kind of prep that we recommend at Nail Basics. I also choose to use an old-fashioned traditional arbor band. There's many different bits available on the market, carbide metal bits. They're not my preference because of the metal. They do create heat, and a lot of them are not multi-directional. So a good basic arbor band is disposable, which keeps your sanitization, your disinfection level up to par, and it's very gentle. It's a paper abrasive. The paper insulates against heat. So we're going to start our removal in our preparation with setting our new smile line. We can see that the product that lived on the nail bed has now grown out into the free edge. So our clear product has now taken over our smile line position. So our first focus is to put that smile line back where it needs to be. I'm going to go into using my arbor band just at the corner of the bit with the very edge working like a pencil. I'm drawing a new smile line very, very carefully, very evenly, all the way across, moving my client's finger as I bring the bit around the corner. I keep working in this very corner of the tuck of the smile, as we call it, until I can see the natural nail. See how pink it is right there? That's showing me the natural nail structure. Remember, I want to be very careful with it. I do not want to file it away. So that's my start point. As I work through my smile line, keeping on the corner of my bit, you can see that pink expose. Use that as a gauge so that your eye tells you where to place your bit. What I'd like you to notice that I'm not doing is I'm not returning back to that corner over and over. Don't keep going back to your same start point. Make sure that you're working from each touch of removal all the way across as you expose that natural nail. Do you find that sometimes your smile lines, as hard as you work at them, doing your prep, reapplying, you do your finishing work, and your smile line's a little bit cloudy in there? One of the biggest reasons is this clear regrowth that you're seeing me so carefully remove is still living underneath your white. So when you put your white back on and you go to shape it in, you've still got a layer of clear under there. So it comes back in a shadow on you. So this is a position where full removal is imperative in the Nail Basics method. Now that I've got that natural nail exposed, as you can see all through that smile line, I'm going to now go into resealing my free edge. Remember, we talked about that little bit of separation. Now it's time to address it. I'm going to take the flat of my bit now, and just with nice full, even, flat strokes, notice my angle is now off. Now I'm working flat onto my product a little bit more aggressively, and I'm thinning out the pre-existing white that's on here. Now I'm going to remove my client's finger into a position where I can lay my bit on the product. Rather than working into the product from the edge, I want to work from the product out to the edge. This technique, this positioning, is going to keep me from ripping apart the keratin of the natural nail. Notice as I'm working through this, you can see the structure of the keratin exposing itself. Make sure you work very, very carefully and be very aware. Did you notice that little pop off there? Any product that is separated with these gentle little touch of your machine allows that loose product just to pop itself away. I can see the natural nail. It gives me my gauge point for my removal. My touches are very gentle. My finger is giving me support, so I have control over the position and the pressure on my bit. Notice this whole edge of that nail is now exposed. Now when I reapply my product, I'm going to reseal that edge. So we aren't going to get those dirty edges separating and pulling away just days after your client leaves. This requires some time, a lot of practice, and a much higher level of skill than just simply taking your file and filing those dirty edges away from underneath. That's like putting a Band-Aid on. Now we're going to come to the other cuticle corner where we opened up and set our gauge line, and we're going to start removing from this corner. Notice that I always keep my bit working on the inside to the outer edge of the keratin so that I don't rip it. As we look into the barrel again, look, that edge is gone. You can see just a little tiny bit of white left right here, and I'm going to, as I look at it, touch it away very, very carefully. Now in this particular demo that we're presenting, I'm going very meticulously so that you can really see the detail of everything that I'm doing. Okay, now that we've finished the French fill removal, when we look very closely, we can still see that really nice corrugated structure of the keratin. This is telling us that we haven't done any damage to that soft top surface. So now when we reapply a product, it has something to bond to. Always remember, the top layer of keratin is your bonding layer. Do not remove it. Now we need to go into prepping our nail plate. Through lifestyle, pressure, use of hands, we do get issues that happen like right here. A little bit difficult to see, but there's a little bit of a pop in the nail plate right behind the smile line area. This is very common, especially on a user finger like the index finger on the right hand. Very highly used, lots of pressure. So make sure you're very aware of what popped product looks like. It needs to be removed. Now what we're going to go and do to begin this procedure is just take the flat of our bit, not the corner anymore, and I'm going to just take the shine off the pre-existing product on the nail plate that has grown off. I don't want to remove it in full. I want to thin it out a little bit to rebalance it because of course the support structure has moved. Notice now it's a little bit milky looking right there. Do you see it? Now we take our bit on its corner just like we positioned for the smile line, and I'm going to draw a little line just around where I see that pop mark. And what I'm doing is I'm sealing the product that's still bonded while I'm going to be able to remove the separation. The reason I like to seal the product that still has its bond is I don't want to do a full aggressive removal. There's no need to take everything off. every fill. Notice that I'm starting to break through just like I did when I was setting my smile line. I'm looking for that natural nail structure. Get that dust out of the way. Very, very careful. Anchor that little finger down to create that control in your pressure, in your movement. Know that your client's finger moves. Move it around, rotate it as you bring your tool through. Notice that nice slow rotation of my bit. If you're using a bit with a very high RPM, it's very easy to damage the keratin of the nail. So this is really why I choose to use a machine that works at such a nice low RPM, yet still gives me that control and continuity. Now notice I've broken the pocket away from the product that's still nice and pink and bonded. I'm going to go back to that flat edge of my bit, and I'm just going to touch very lightly over top of that milky spot or that separated product, and watch. It's so neat. As I do this, look at it, just kicks off of there. While you're working in this position, be very careful your bit is flat and flush and not into the nail. A simple angle like this will cause damage. As we flatten our bit out, we're working flush with the keratin. As I touch the keratin, it's like a feather. I'm barely there. And again, the pocket is gone. Looking closely, you can still see that nice full structure of keratin. No angry red marks, no spots. Now, once we finish this removal, we're going to go to separation. If we look very closely, there's a little tiny bit of separation right in this edge here. I'm going to pull that cuticle or that groove tissue away, and again, same thing. Work behind the separation, a little bit of an angle to find the seal of the net where the product is bonded, and then just lightly touch off the separated edge. This procedure of removing separation and pockets will prevent any fill lines from occurring. There will be no need to apply any kind of product to cheat. If you leave fill lines behind, they are going to come back to haunt you. And as you can see, this blends in beautifully. Now we're going to come all the way around, make sure there's no separation, right through to the other side, right along the growth channel. So now what we have left is just a little island of product on the nail plate. This is great. We're not building new nails, we're doing nail fills. We're maintaining. Now I'm going to stay with my electric file with my arbor band, and I'm just going to very, very gently etch the regrowth. Now let's do it again. The same thing. First on this one though, I'm going to shorten just a little bit before we take a peek. Once we check to look for any kind of separation, then we're going to go into setting our smile line, starting in the tuck of the corner, using the very, very corner of our bit, moving it across, looking for that opening. Open up. Don't go too far until you find the natural nail. There it is, right there. Now I'm going to draw my new smile line all the way through. Keep your bit on its corner. Thin everything out, just like we did on the last one, and then we're going to turn that finger and work from the edge of the nail into the product, looking for any separation of natural nail from product out of the growth channel into the free edge, touching it away lightly. Then we're going to come to the other edge, touch it away lightly. Sometimes it's not separated. It'll blend in this case, rather than chip away. Now that I've got those edges sealed, I'm going to continue with removing that pre-existing white all the way through the center of the free edge, always carefully looking for that natural nail structure so that I can maintain that full structure, maintaining that full bond. There we go. Full removal, and give it a pressure test. Make sure it's feeling nice and hard and strong. Now again, we're going to go back into the nail plate. Check it out. Look for any marbly edges, any little pockets. This is looking good, but you never know for sure until you take that shine down. Remember, I'm moving the bit just with the flow of the natural nail, just taking the shine off and rebalancing. Notice that I've got what we would call a fill line. It's quite a fat white edge. That's not good. We're going to come in behind that, and that's going to get us into our popped marks as well. Working with that angle, the very same idea, getting in behind and then touching off. And watch, as I just lightly touch, that loose product pops away. This is looking good. The marbling is looking good. And I just touch over here. There's a spot right in here that I'm a little concerned about. As I blend through, everything is pink and healthy. Looks great. It's well bonded. Now the edges are nicely sealed. I'm just going to blend them in. Just light touches, always keeping the edge of my bit working on the product. This procedure is going to prevent you from doing any angry red marks of the nail. What makes the nail plate nice and pink is the network of capillaries underneath the nail plate that live in the nail bed. That's where the moisture lives. So if you break down that keratin, you're getting close to the capillaries, you're getting very close to the moisture content. Therefore, you're not going to achieve the same kind of bond that you can when you're working on a good, healthy, strong structure. There's that prep done. Now we'll move on to our third nail to prep. This nail has a little bit of an issue. My client had some pretty severe separation in between, and as happens in real life, she took a little corner out. We aren't going to worry about this at the onset. We're going to go right into our regular preparation. Go through that shortening just a little bit first, and again, back into that corner. Create a routine, create a continuity in the way that you prep your nails. So you're going through the very same procedure on every nail each time. With this kind of continuity and preparation and routine, you won't miss anything. Again, work that corner. Make sure you see that start point. Look at the keratin. There it is, a little tiny pink spot. Make sure your eyes are working for you. If you can't see, get some glasses. Work that through, keeping the angle through the center of the smile line. Keep the angle as you come into the other corner. And notice as I come into the corner, that separation becomes really, really obvious now. I'm still not going to go there though. I haven't finished my procedure over here. Now we're going to thin out, just like we did on the previous two nails that we prepped through. And remove the edge all the way into the free edge extending from the growth channel. Take a look underneath. Make sure you don't see a dark line. Look for that separation. Look for any little indication of darkness, residue. Now we're coming into our issue of separation. It's just sitting there. It's just waiting for me just to give it a light touch, and look at that, popped off. Now there's that edge that my client ripped away when she was in the shower. Make sure the edge that's left behind of the natural nail is nice and smooth. If it's tattered, it's not going to seal. Now again, we're going to go in and we're going to remove the shine. On this nail, we don't have any pockets. We don't have any delamination of the product. It's nice and flush and pink. However, look in this corner. See that milky look? That's where the product was separated. It appears that maybe there may have even been a little crack in there that started the problem. So we're going to address that as we work around to it. I am going back into my procedure, looking after the edges first. As I come around, moving my bit in rotation with the shape of the nail, getting rid of the dust. Notice how the contour of the nail is very sharp down through here. It's really a high C-curve. So my bit has to come into that high C-curve position. If I work like this, I'm going to totally miss my separation. Make sure your bit is making contact in the right spot. If you go over one area 4, 5, 6 times and nothing's happening, know that you're in the wrong position. Rotate your tool, work with the contours. Look how it's coming away. I've still got that little edge there. Work inside of it, find where the natural nail is, seal what is already bonded, and look at that, it's just popping right off for me with those little flush, flat touches of my tool. Now, of course, we're going to go and etch that keratin, working with that nice round file on a round surface, very, very gently. No need to overdo it. We only want to remove that top shine so that we can get a good bond. that one's done. Now dust everything off, and we're going to go through now and give them one little check. We're going to take our nail wipe, lots of after wipe, lots nice and wet, and give it a wash down. Now as you wash the nails, look at them. That's what they're going to look like when you put your gel back on. If there's any separation, any pockets, they'll become very visible in white milky spots. As I wash down, I'm liking what I see, except for right here. I don't like the way that looks right there. See that? That's still a little bit separated. Go back to your tool and finish that removal in there. Always, always give them a final check with a wash down. As I'm working this, see? If I would have missed that separation, I could have ended up with a crack because it's separated right in the bridge, which is a very important part of my support structure. There we go. Now again, give it a little wash. Now see, it's pink, it's flush, it blends in. At this stage, we are now ready to go into our product application. Now let's review preparation. Before you begin, always ensure that both the nail technician and the client have thoroughly sanitized their hands to prevent the spread of germs and bacteria. To remove the dehydrated tissue from the cuticle area, apply Cutique, lift cuticle gently, carefully pull tissue away from the cuticle area. Using a well-saturated nail wipe, thoroughly cleanse the area to remove tissue and neutralize the enzymes in Cutique. To prepare the smile line, shorten the nail to allow for 3 weeks growth. Using an electric nail file, carefully prep a new smile line, making sure not to damage the surface keratin of the natural nail. Repair any separation, pockets, or cracks in the nail. Using the flat surface of your filing tool, gently remove the shine from the remaining product on the nail. Using a saturated nail wipe, thoroughly cleanse the nail. Thank you for viewing the nail preparation portion of our video series. We know that with practice, you will be able to employ these techniques and use them to your fullest advantage to ensure your clients will have the best possible results. Ergonomics are a key issue for every nail technician. The first recommendation I have is find the right height to position yourself at your desk to work. Make sure your forearms are parallel to the floor, not too low and not too high. Second, rather than the commonly used undergrip which closes your shoulder up, move into our recommended overgrip. You'll see that the wrist flattens out and your shoulder opens up so that you don't receive the strain into your neck and back that is so common for a hard-working nail technician. Another advantage to our overgrip not only is the ergonomically correct position, the advantage we have is the mobility and control you get from your working tool as we're working through our technique.